Hey everyone, welcome to the Redmen TV. It is the Uncensored match build-up, and what a game we are building up to. Yes, Liverpool versus Manchester City, Sunday, 4 o'clock, a chance for the Reds to go 11 points clear of Pep Guardiola's side. And if you'd have said that a few weeks ago, that this could be an opportunity for us, maybe you'd have been called crazy, but that's where we find ourselves. I'm Steve Hood, joined by Chris Coughlin and by Sam Walker for this one to look ahead to what is an absolute mammoth game. Before we start, very quickly though, it's Black Friday. Have you done any shopping?
Got some new footy boots before.
Yeah, everyone's doing it. And if you want to get involved, we're doing one on our merch store, by the way. So if you go to redmenmerch.com, everything on there is 20% off.
Is this on there? See, someone asked me the other day in the pub after the game if they were like, "Oh, where'd you get this? It's a Redmen top."
I think
it's still on there. Someone was like, "Oh, that's Boss, that one."
Maybe not. I don't think so.
It's old. It's a couple of years old. Like, but
we've got a few hoodies on there and that. But yeah, 20% off everything. So it's the Redmen merch if you just want one, including the Arna slot. Yeah, the Arna slot jumper that I'm wearing now. I like having a ball fella on me. I feel represented. So yeah, get yourself involved. If you're looking for some merch for yourselves or for whatever, get yourselves involved in Black Friday. Right, let's talk about the game. Sam, I'll start with you. Mentioned there, obviously, a chance to go 11 points clear of Manchester City. It is just like such a massive opportunity for Liverpool. Listen, I would never ever write Man City out because they're like the bad guy in Austin Powers who doesn't die. Like, it's just like, why won't you die? But like, 11 points clear is just dreamland if they can sort that out ahead of City.
Yeah, it's funny. A couple of weeks ago, I started making parallels between this season and the 1920 season. We flipped the results though. We'd lost one in Europe and drew one in the Prem, and we've just flipped that round this time, obviously. But yeah, I remember that game. I remember thinking, there's a chance we could go maybe 6 points clear against City, and then it became, there's a chance we can go 8 points clear, and now obviously that's escalated up to 11. And I think there is parallels. The metrics are slightly different, but this is the game where I thought in that season, once we beat City that year, that we were probably going to win the league. And obviously, we didn't sing it to United and stuff, but it feels like a game again. If you get through this game, the amount of distance between you and, let's be honest, probably your biggest rival come the end of the season, you've got a lot of room for error. And the way we are and how much we want this league, it's such a pivotal game. And on the basis of what we saw on Wednesday, I've got no concern that we're not going to go into this match with the exact same mentality.
I suppose, well, like I've always said, Chris, we'll find out what happens in due course. And I would never write Man City off, although 11 points is very, very hard to come back to. If you're going to be in a title race, get us in a title race with Arsenal. I'll take a title race with Arsenal. I'll take a title race against Chelsea. I don't care, but because City have just burned it so many times before. And looking at them now to move on to City, and this is kind of the reason why we're in this chance. They're just in such a bad run of form. Even midweek, when they're 3-0 up and everything looks fine, and before you know it, it's 3-3 again. Like, Pep scratching himself and cutting his own face. Like, they've had all kinds going on. It's just it's so weird to look at them in this moment, because this just never happened to them.
No, the thing is, ever since the takeover, I'd have to look back at every season specifically. Has there been a race that City haven't won since the takeover? And that's probably what I'm thinking, really, because City win races. You don't want to get embroiled in one with them.
When they lose early. Like
And then they go on that mad unbeaten run at the end of the season, 10, 11, 12, etc. This just feels a bit bigger than that, because I think for us, if it was the other way around, and it was the 11-point gap the other way around, how many of us would be sat here right now thinking realistically that there's still a chance? It would be really tough to see. But I'm the same as you. I'm not saying that City would be done even if they're 11 points behind come Sunday afternoon, but it would feel incredible from this side looking at them. And let's not forget Arsenal, even Chelsea to an extent, still in the mix, obviously, but see what the table looks like, because they could even be above City by the end of play on Sunday. But no, the way City are at the moment, the fragility is unlike anything we've seen under the Pep era, really, and you've just got to take advantage of that.
What do you think's causing, Sam? Because obviously they do have injuries, and you can't ignore it. The best player on the planet is done his ACL, and it's worth mentioning. They've had, John Stones is definitely out. I think Kovacic is out, which is a blow. Yeah. Oscar Bob's out. Yeah. They've got a couple of other lads who, that Nurse and De Bruyne are back and things like this. I've been watching them a fair bit in these games, standalone games, and they look a little bit like us a couple of years ago when just a couple of lads looks like the legs might have gone a little bit. Like, just they've gone to the well once too often, and the guy who's meant to bail them out isn't there anymore, and all of a sudden it feels like I don't like this deck of cards. And listen, they can always come back because they're fantastic players, but like they're getting beaten, out sprinted Kyle Walker against Timo Werner. Wasn't even a race anymore, things like that. It just looks like maybe they've just gone to the edge one too many times.
Yeah, I think obviously the Rodri thing, no one can control that, but I think the two things that for me that they can control City is, I think the age of the players is a factor now. You talked about De Bruyne and Walker and what they bring to that side, the recovery, the creativity, the legs, gone, completely gone. And the other thing is, I think their recruitment's been really poor for the last 2 years. I think even Gvardiol, he's popped up with some moments, but defensively and his position in the squad, he's not a rock. So I think they've been poor in recruitment since winning the treble, and I think that's now showing because they've got one of their stalwarts not in the side, and therefore they are relying on Kovacic and Nunes, and they're just not at the same level. Even some of them, I mean, they're raving about Nunes. And it's like, how can he be playing that well if you're losing every game and drawing the last one from 3-0 up? So I think it's those two things combined, and then what that leads to is just a mental, a level of stress.
I suppose as well, they're conceding goals, Chris.
Yeah.
And I've always, like City they've always scored, and they've got Haaland, and I know they score goals. Although this year probably not as prolific, but it does feel like at the back, whether I know John Stones had the injury, but whether it's been Akanji or Walker or Gvardiol or Ake, and Diaz has been in and out as well. The goalkeeper, like none of them really. It doesn't feel that hard to score a goal against City, even when they were winning. They were conceding the first goal. They conceded like goals against Ipswich and goals against Brentford. I was like, it's just very un-Man City. Like to have 17 goals against them at this stage of the season. I know 4 of them came in the other day, but there's definitely a fragility at the back for them.
I think I read something since Rodri's injury. I think they've conceded the most big chances in the league, and certainly they've conceded definitely the most chances, the most shots following counter attacks, and that just sums up what they're missing in Rodri. And again, we're not going to sit here for how long saying it's just Rodri. I do think age is a factor, as you say. I think I've always thought about Pep. When he overthinks, he can't rein it back, and he continues to overthink. Although, like the Champions League final against Chelsea, they lost a couple of years ago. I'll always say he started a stronger team in the league game against Everton a week earlier when they'd already won the title than what he started in the final. But that's just because he likes to try and tactically think. He tries to outthink someone, and even just some of his selections this year. You mentioned the recruitment. Letting Cole Palmer go to Chelsea looking worse and worse by the week, isn't it? Really, when you look at what they've got in reserve by comparison.
He'd probably still be on their bench though, just the way it goes, isn't it? Just the way it goes. Like
I think what's happened as well, Sam, you touch on the recruitment. Looking from the outside looking in, I thought Gundogan was a good signing to play, not alongside a Rodri, or you need a 10-minute spell where you bring someone on, and we've shown he's clearly got quality and he can still pick a pass. But at the moment they're relying on Gundogan. Again, no Kovacic, no Rodri, and teams like that Tottenham game was as open as I've seen anyone look. They were just sprinting through. I think it was in midfield, Nunes and Gundogan. Foden was in there. I think it was a Silva and Grealish, and Tottenham were just all the time, and it was like, this is just very un-City. I usually expect Sam for Pep to do something different, but he did play in midweek, so is it that easy to do? Is there something he can do? Is there anything that within his squad that he can change? Because it doesn't appear time-wise or actually players-wise he's got too many options other than a 4-3-3 with one sitting and two. I don't know what else he can do.
Yeah, I mean, there's not abundance of options there. He's lost Kovacic for a month now, hasn't he? So he's probably this, maybe you could call Bernardo midfielder, but he's probably the second best midfielder they've got. So the two strongest ones are out. When they signed Gundogan, I was absolutely bouncing, because for me, once you go back there to a player his age who looked like he was coming to the end, even though he scored goals, but he was doing bits rather than doing a lot. Yeah. I think when they went back there, it was a big red flag for me personally. So it's kind of, if anything, sort of showing itself now because of the fragility of Rodrigo, and I don't think he can do too much. What he could possibly do is do a little bit what Liverpool have done this season, is just drop 5 yards when they don't have the ball, and maybe accept that you might have to defend a little bit like Real Madrid did the other days. You might have to get men behind the ball and just try and counter-attack yourselves. They can maybe use Savinho, Doku, or maybe Foden as wide men, and just try and hit us on the counter-attack. Worked really well for Haaland at Dortmund. But is he going to be able to turn that over in 3 days? And is it going to be effective at a ground like ours?
I just wonder as well, given the expectation for City now, because they know they're 8 points behind, whether they can think, right, there is enough room later on in the season. is there not a feeling from within themselves that they need to go forward in this game, really to attack? And I always say when a team attacks, that's what really benefits Liverpool. I'll always say that because of the quality in the counter-attack. So I just wonder with City, especially when I saw, not just Gvardiol against Tottenham, but Gvardiol in the week with the bonkers back pass that just led to all the chaos late on. I think the established players as well, because we haven't mentioned, I know in the defence, Ederson, for example, just moments like being absolutely crazy against Feyenoord late on. That's where you've got to keep your calm heads, and it just feels like some of the experienced players for City aren't doing that at the moment.
Like I say, they look like a team, and they're not. They're just not used to losing, and it must be weird when they're going through this phase now as a 6-out win, and it was the 5 defeats on the spin and whatever it was, and then Wednesday would have felt, or Tuesday would have felt like a big defeat for them as well. It's almost like Liverpool, if you get them at the best time, you're probably going to get them, really, and you've got to make sure you take full advantage of it. If they are feeling low and they're feeling, a little bit edgy or whatever, Anfield's affected them at the best of times. Even when they're at the best, Anfield has been rocking and it's bothered them a little bit. If you can do it in this game when they're not at their best, like, Liverpool got a major opportunity here.
Oh, absolutely. And for us, playing Madrid in the week was I know it doesn't seem like that. Oh, people are saying rest the players and stuff. No, you want to go and beat an absolute monster side to then say, we can go and do the same to City. The atmosphere is exactly how it needs to be on Wednesday, for how it needs to be on Sunday. We've had the warm-up for this, or we've had the parallel game. Let's just go and do it again. And I think for them, if they'd lost 2 or 3 games, I think I'd be a little bit worried about the bounce back. But I think where they're at now is pure crisis mode. It's not 2 or 3 games. Come on, guys, let's sort it out. It's what's going on here. The worst place they can possibly go to is Anfield. Don't get me wrong, it'd be the biggest scalp in the world. They come and turn us over. It's just very hard for them because it's the worst place to go. Literally the worst place in world football for them to rock up after they've not beaten us in front of a crowd since 2000 and something, before it became 10. So look, they could beat us. They're good enough to beat us, but it's a big ask, and they're going to have to do something massively different.
Absolutely. We'll just to clarify very quickly on the injury front, then they had that. We know they're definitely without Rodri, Kovacic, Oscar Bob, I think, and John Stones look like they're all going to miss the game. And Doku's 50-50, but so they're starting to get a few players back. But actually, they've got 3 DMs. 2 of them are injured, and then actually Gundogan's now the other one. And
so who's going to play for them in midfield?
Rico Lewis probably might go. They might put him in there instead of that full back, and then Bernardo Silva will be doing for him, or Foden. Will be the third.
Foden's good.
We'll see where De Bruyne is at, if he's fit enough to play 90, because at the moment in time he's been almost like wrapped in cotton wool. He's been like, coming on with 10 minutes to go, trying to rescue them.
It's bizarre.
Yeah, maybe we'll see where they're at with that one. We will speak about what Liverpool are going to do and hopefully how they're going to beat Manchester City, but we're going to go to a quick break first. Going to leave you with a little trivia question. Did you know the last time Man City lost the league game to a side who were top of the league going into the game was against us in November 2019.
Wow.
There's been 6 times they've played someone who's been top of the league and they've won 5 and lost 1. Which just goes like, when the time played, one was us, I think, when we won the league, and they beat us when we were drunk. But they've done this before. They've done it to Arsenal, etc., etc. But anyway, that game was November 2019. I want you guys at home and you guys who scored Liverpool's opener in that game. So the last time City lost the league game to a side sitting top of the league that day was Liverpool, November 19. Who scored Liverpool's first goal in that game? We'll be back with the answer to that and a look at Arne Slot's tactics and options and injury updates after this quick break. Yeah, there you go. Go and get your Christmas sweaters, including the one I'm wearing now. The Arnold Slot one's been very popular. So redmenmerch.com. Like I say, if you do it before I think it's midnight on Monday, you get 20% off as well. So head yourselves over there. Right then, last time City lost a game to a side who was top of the league, was against Liverpool in November 19. Who scored Liverpool's opener that day?
Fabinho. I was going to say screamer from Fabinho and just got me words mixed
up. It was
a
screamer from Fabinho.
The chaos of the handball.
It was the handball and it's time. So Stephen in the chat who was live got it. So did Clint. So did Thomas. It was a quite easy one. I'll be honest, I was trying to think of a good question, but everyone's watched so many of these games that it was hard to think of anything
should have been
else.
sent off in the game? Do you remember for us? The ref gave the foul from Henderson, but then one of our other players on a yellow pulled forward and down.
Milner should have got red, didn't he?
But he gave the foul for the first one, which got him off with it.
Who should have got it? Who should have got the penalty away last year? Doku, when he kicked the leg in the chest. There's all kinds going on at this one. Right then, let's talk about the Reds. Injury update wise, I'll be honest, Arne Slot is not great at giving injury updates. He doesn't like doing it. He's got a little bit Mikel Arteta in recent weeks. What we do know, Kostas Tsimikas, Diogo Jota and Alisson are out. He did say he didn't expect it. He said at his last press conference, I don't expect Alisson back for Madrid or City. But again, that might change. But that's what we're going to go with. Chiesa, unlikely. He has taken part in some training, but whether that makes him available for Sunday, we'll wait and see. He's been doing bits of sessions, but there's still a couple of days out, so we don't know. He didn't really give too much of an update on Conor Bradley and Ibu Konate, but it feels like it's probably too early for Bradley with a hamstring issue. Konate, again, it's wait and see. So again, a lot of this is a little bit like we're up in the air with it.
Injuries, Steve. All of our major injuries.
We haven't got any.
Arsenal with their two injuries gone, but the injury crisis.
We're not allowed. We're not allowed to hold injuries.
Yeah, let's not talk about injuries.
Just we're not allowed to. We haven't got any. Kelleher will be. So if whether it's Kelleher or Alisson, I mean, there's the big debate is about to happen of when Alisson's back, what's going to happen for fans. Arne Slot's told us, he said Alisson will play. So there is no debate whether we've got options about it or not, but it looks like it'll be Kelleher. The interesting one, Chris, will be, again, if it isn't Bradley, the good news is Alexander Arnold's back, so Trent can start. And I reckon if he needed to, he probably could have played on Wednesday, but I think Rothman, Cotton Wool, Jobby. And if it isn't Konate, it's Gomez, I guess, and we're all relatively fine with that.
Yeah, and the way that Arne Slot's sending his centre-backs to be involved, that could actually mean Joe Gomez will get some more chances, really, like against Brighton. I think everyone's got full faith in Joe Gomez as well. I think it was good, at least he got some minutes on Wednesday, because I think that was one thing in my head when we were discussing Joe Gomez on Tuesday. As much as I agree with you, that was one little thing in my head, in that he hasn't had a lot of football recently, whereas Conor Bradley has. Ultimately, unfortunately, might have caught up with him a little bit, but fingers crossed it isn't too bad going forward. For Kelleher, even if Alisson's available, I just don't see how you can throw him into this kind of scenario. And I know there's a lot of games coming thick and fast, and then you can argue, well, when can you throw him in? I think Girona in the Champions League is potentially a good option. I'm just a little bit wary of throwing a keeper that hasn't played for a while into the derby, for example, because especially if Everton play the way they did last year, just high ball, looking for those set piece opportunities. But Kelleher as well, he's shown such ability, and it will be quite sad when, if as expected, he leaves next summer, because I've been thinking. I mean, obviously, Mamardashvili was signed with looking forward and progression planning in mind, but Kelleher, he's so unlucky. Really.
He'll play, we think, for now. Like I say, Arne Slot made it clear though. He said,
do you know what? I mean, I haven't seen anything or heard anything. I just thought Alisson was going to play this week. I thought he was back.
Well, before Madrid, he said he's unlikely to feature against Madrid and City. Is what he said. Again, he might be telling porky pies. To be fair, there is no ambiguity about it. He said when Alisson's fit, he'll play, and he kind of said it after the Madrid game. He said, I've explained this before. Like, it is what it is. So he's not worried about it. But like I say, we think it's going to be Kelleher. The interesting one, Sam, will be, and again, we're not sure on Konate, how bad or whatever. There's talk that he think he's all right, but whether he's fit enough for the weekend, we don't know. I mean, to be fair, last time we saw Joe Gomez was against Brighton, and he was brilliant. Arguably man of the match in that game. He's actually played well against Manchester City in the past. It feels like the pecking order before the season was actually Van Dijk, Kwanzaa, Konate, Gomez. It feels like now it's Van Dijk, Konate, Gomez, Kwanzaa, and Kwanzaa's found himself at the bottom of that pile. Now, what it does mean, of course, is Gomez is also your backup right back, so you're going to have to watch out with that in terms of where he plays. But would you expect it to be him if it isn't Ibu?
I think so, just for his experience. That this manager's obviously shown that it's about experience coming on thing. I mean, Quansah's a seriously talented lad, but he's young, and you've seen the pros and cons of a young player. Some of his defending against Brighton was unbelievable. West Ham, he was fantastic, but then you see the unlucky side of it. But the unluckiness can come from sometimes from being a little bit inexperienced, because you can almost make your own luck if you're experienced by just not doing the more difficult things. So I think Gomez will get the shout. I mean, look, there's a world where if you needed to take Trent off, you could shift them over and put Quansah on. It's not ideal, but there is a world where you could do that. I mean, we've seen Diaz play there before, who knows? But yeah, so I hark back to last year's game, and we should have beat them because of the chances and the penalty shout. Yeah. But you look at the team there, it was like Kelleher, Bradley, Quansah, Van Dijk, Gomez, Simicast, or Robbo weren't playing. The midfield was like, I'm sure it was
Endo was unbelievable that
Endo, Elliott was on the right, Soboslai. It was really like a different team. And
I was looking at the bench, like the bench had like Nalo, McConnell, Lewis Kumas. Liverpool were struggling.
We were really, and we had Salah on the bench and came on obviously towards the end. But if you McAllister played, but it was a really different side. So I think now if we do have one or two players in there like Kelleher or like a Gomez who aren't as senior, then I think you've got absolutely no qualms. So just where we're at right now.
Where do you think in midfield's interesting, Chris? Because Soboslai didn't play, and there was a lot of thought maybe saving his energy for the weekend. But the midfield worked so well. All three of them were really good. I'd say three of them had three of their better games. I'd say it was definitely McAllister's best game of the season. Yeah. It was one of Curtis's, if not Curtis's best, and Gravenberch again. The manager's he has got Harvey Elliott as well, I understand that, but he's probably choosing 3 from 4, and actually it's 2 from 3 because Gravenberch is going to play. Yeah. Where do you see him going, and what would you do if you were in his shoes?
Yeah, Wednesday was 100% McAllister's best game of the season. 100%.
Yeah, easily.
He looked so fresh. I thought a few of them I just thought looked like they had about 10 energy bars. Bouncing around the place, honestly. Because I think McAllister sometimes, you can maybe say he's a little bit slow, maybe doesn't have the legs of others. Again, his in-game intelligence was just there for everyone to see. He's probably one of the most underrated midfielders in world football for me. I absolutely love the guy. Gravenberch, as you say, goes without saying. Again, what a wonderful performance against Bellingham that was. Didn't let him out of his pocket. And Jones has staked one heck of a claim. He really has. I thought Jones was going to play because he was much more of a ball carrier, and especially when Real ended up playing 4 central midfielders, and I thought Ancelotti was basically taking off Nuno from when Forest played 4 midfielders. But Jones was just absolutely perfect for that game. And I'm thinking as well, can City kind of develop that? But I don't think they've got the personnel really to whack 4 in the middle there, to be honest.
Box midfield.
Yeah. So keeping possession in a game like this is going to be so important, and that's why I think Jones probably should get the nod over Soboslai, because he's able just to maintain that better.
I tend to agree. Like I said, the argument for Soboslai would be what we said before. So I'm like, City are struggling for legs. He's probably the most dynamic of Liverpool's midfielders, of the 8 anyway, in terms of getting about. But the other 2 aren't bad at it. But he would be, again, we don't know fitness and relate and whatever, but you would be tempted if you're the manager to go, you lads go it again.
Yeah,
go and get at them, because Jones will be licking his lips. If there's space in that, if City leave the space like they left for Spurs, Curtis Jones will have a field day. Yeah. You probably think the manager's likely to go same again.
Yeah, I think he's nailed the midfield the last 2. I think our midfield was fantastic against Southampton and really good again against Real. I thought he nailed his selection. And you just think, when you beat Real Madrid like that and you put the 3 of them perform like they did, you just kind of go again. And if we were playing anybody else, you might go, okay, we're going to rotate one of you out because next game is just as important as the next game, whereas this game is a little bit different. So I do think that it's not just Newcastle or Everton or Fulham. We're talking about Man City now and a massive opportunity. I just think you go again. The 3 of them have played together. They know the sort of where they're going to be, how they're going to work. They complement each other brilliantly. I think he will just go again. I don't think you'll see that much difference in the team.
Now, what do you think up front then? That's the next question, Chris, because again, Gakpo didn't play, comes on, scores. It was, obviously we all know, it was Núñez, Salah, Diaz was the 3 the other day. The fact that he took Núñez off makes me think he's going to start. Because I was wondering, is he going to play Darwin for 90 and then go Diaz up front against Man City? The fact that Darwin comes off and actually played I thought he had a good game, and Salah is Salah, he's going to play. How do you see it going? Because listen, Cody Gakpo can't really be doing much more, but also I'm desperate. I think I'd want to see Luis Diaz up against this version of Kyle Walker, because he beat the last version of Kyle Walker, and this isn't the same player, so probably same again there as well.
Quite possibly. When I say about players looking fresh, I thought Gakpo looked sharp on Wednesday. Absolutely sharp. You know what was lovely as well? To see aerial threat from the forward line. I don't know, for example, the header against United, Diaz. Just trying to think off the top of my head of any others, but
Nunez is good, but he's just in the middle, isn't he?
Yeah.
I know what you're on about.
A lot of aerial threat has been from Van Dijk and Konate, the centre halves, but to see Gakpo's aerial ability, because he's a massive lad as well. The spring was fantastic, just how he got over the header and powered it in, and he is, the two of them, the battle between the two of them, him and Diaz, is just amazing, because they've just lifted each other's game to a level that certainly in terms of Diaz, I doubted could maybe have got to that level at the moment, just in terms of end product. Nunez, I think, again, it feels like we're having a weekly conversation about Nunez, and it's the same conversation over and over again. But against City last year, the way he just kind of chased down lost causes, obviously won the penalty last year as well. The way that City are defending at the moment, I genuinely think they'd fear any of those three. I really do. Salah against Guardiola, he'll be licking his lips at that, especially what he did to Mendy in the week. And again, I'm trying to actually give an answer to your question, but it's really, really difficult, because they are. I just think all three of them really have a way to suit this game. I think
Gakpo to maybe Chris is a really good sub option as well.
I think so.
And I think
do you think they were the more direct option against
now.
Walker? Maybe Diaz because he's had more direct.
That's why I'm thinking. I think Diaz because
he's more rounded. Diaz, I think.
I just think also he's more likely to target Walker. Where Gakpo's different. He's great at it, but good option to have some.
It's going to be Salah. It's going to be Nunez, because there was a lot made about the hat-trick Diaz scored, but what people actually forget is he scored two of them when he was left wing when Nunez was on the pitch.
Yeah.
That's his best position. He can probably cover, maybe like he did the other day last, so I see that maybe happening. I think he'll do the same thing again, because I think Diaz is just a ridiculous engine. Salah, and I think Nunez does do a lot with running. I think our number 9 is getting into Bobby territory for running these days, because we do compensate for Salah being Salah, which is the right thing to do, by the way. So, but I think the power that Nunez has, I think nobody plays, take Haaland out of the equation. The power that he has to just blitz past defenders and to go in behind, not many in the league have. And you saw that against Madrid, that first chance we had where Salah and Nunez played a 1-2 and he just powered through. You need that in this game, because I don't want to see buzzing around. I want to see a defender, a striker powering past their forward line. And if Nunez does that, it always makes Salah play better. Notice since Jota's been injured how many goals Salah scored. I don't think that's a coincidence.
Yeah, he likes the space, doesn't he?
So I think it's going to be Salah, Diaz, Nunez, and put Gakpo off the bench again.
I think you're right. I think I would agree with that one as well. Before we get on to predictions and stuff, then we always like to have a little look around the league. And actually, there's some pretty good games actually happening, isn't there? This weekend. You saw at the top of the league. So as it stands, obviously we're top, City second. Chelsea are actually in third place. They've got Aston Villa at home, which isn't the easiest of ties. I know Villa were unlucky the other day, I think, not to beat Juventus.
So soft,
I say unlucky. So to be fair, Juve had one off the line by a millimetre, and then there was a soft VAR decision go against them. Tough game for Chelsea. And then West Ham, Sam, at home to Arsenal. West Ham haven't been in great nick, but he did well recently as well. So
at Newcastle,
a good game against Newcastle. So not the easiest of ties there for the teams who are in third and fourth. West Ham away for Arsenal, and then Villa at home for Chelsea.
Yeah, so look at Arsenal first. It depends what West Ham turn up. West Ham can be horrible, like they were for us last year and the year before. We've had loads of battles with them, so the big sides. That'll either be Chelsea battered them this year, didn't they? And I think
a lot of teams have battered West Ham.
West Ham at home. I can't remember who else they've lost to at home, but I think West Ham are one of those sides where they can be an absolute pain and beat you or score goals against you, be a real physical threat. So, and Arsenal are vulnerable at times to that, and have been over the years. But then at the same time, they can beat West Ham 5-0, and you can be like, oh well, that's a tough game we thought, or a game that we thought was going to be tough that wasn't. The other ones are a real tough test. I still think, I know Villa are a bit down there, but I still think they're a better side than Chelsea. I just think they've been scrapping with the Champions League a bit.
Yeah, I thought West Ham, Lopetegui didn't half by himself some time with that win against United the other month, because I thought...
on the brink.
If it had gone the other way, Ten Hag probably would have still been in the job, because I think United could have been 3-up at the break. Obviously, Dalot missed that unbelievable opportunity in that game. But then I think he done all right to kind of bring himself back a little bit now, winning against Newcastle. Yes, the draw at home to Everton, but Pickford just had an absolute worldie that day against West Ham. I think I've just got this in my mind. Look, just hold out, because again, I remember when Arsenal went there. When it was just after the 2-2. It was after the 2-2 at Anfield, and I remember saying after that game, the nature of which they'd fallen, from 2-0 up to draw 2-2, I said straight away, they aren't winning that league. Even though they had a chance, I said they aren't winning the league. When they went to West Ham again, week after, 2-0 up, 2-1, Saka missed a pen, they drew 2-2. And I just wonder, is that going to be psychologically, I know Arsenal went to West Ham, won 6-0 last year, but just that possible psychological thing.
It's like Sam said, they're both there. Like everyone's there. The thing with Villa at Chelsea, Villa are on a terrible run of form.
They are.
I think they haven't won in 7. It's like, are they going to make it? Chelsea are at this moment in time. There's a world, Sam, where we finish this week. Hopefully, Liverpool top, Chelsea second. Like that's a distinct possibility, because they'll be backing themselves to beat Aston Villa because they're not getting the best of them. So yeah, it's all changed at the top of this Premier League. Hopefully, except us. Hopefully,
we'll be except us.
Hopefully, it's a bigger gap and we remain consistent.
The thing is for Chelsea as well, they technically, and I'm saying technically, have a week off on these European weeks.
Yeah, because of the two squads.
Yeah, because it's just total change. Parma's not even in the Conference League squad.
Yeah, it's mad.
They effectively have 3 midweeks, because their Conference League 11 is absolute world away from their Premier League 11.
Yeah.
So that is a factor that would be very interesting, because they've got a very nice run over Christmas actually. So Chelsea are one again. We're talking about going 11 clear.
It's just the defence and goalkeeper,
everybody. Yeah.
Isn't it? That's me worry for them.
Yeah,
and that's where Villa were quite good, isn't it?
Bear in mind, by the way, Brighton will be saying, why aren't you talking,
why aren't
you talking about us? Because we're on the exact same points as these two guys. So yeah, shout out to Brighton.
They should be winning tonight, you think?
You think, they play tonight at that time, so there's a different one. The Friday night at home to Southampton, you'd think Brighton will get that one done. Right then, guys, we've been through it all.
You've missed a big one.
What have I missed off? Go on, tell me what I've missed.
United Everton. It's like Liverpool Derby, like rubbing your hands together. They're both crap, like.
Yeah.
Baz just reminded me when he walked past, to be honest. They can end up in the relegation zone, can't they?
Yeah, of course they can, because of shit.
I mean, this weekend, yeah.
Just in general, or like that's always the case for Everton. They go off on it. Just if you want to scan through the other fixtures very, very quickly, then
sorry, Steve.
No, it's fine. Yeah, like I say, Everton, Man United. That's before we play. It's actually Man United v Everton. That's on Sunday as well. You've got a little bit of Saturday action if you're interested. Wolves, Bournemouth, Palace, Newcastle, Forest, Ipswich, Brentford, Leicester. So basically. I don't think I missed most of them, I'll be honest.
Just watch Sunday.
Go and do your shopping on Saturday. Maybe keep your phone alerts on, maybe if you're interested in the games, and then tune in for Arsenal, hopefully losing at West Ham, and then go from there, because Sunday's busy, obviously with all the Europa League and conference teams and all that. Spurs are playing Sunday as well for them. Gents, Liverpool, Manchester City, I need some score predictions from you.
Liverpool 3, Manchester City 1.
Same as
4-1. Yeah, been saying it all week, so I'm going to stick with it.
Yeah,
I think 3-0.
Yeah.
3-0.
Yeah.
Haaland gets a sweaty goal for me.
Yeah, you can. And listen, they've got as bad as they've been, they've still got players who can score a goal. I think that's, we didn't touch on it before, that is one of the issues they actually have. They've got one lad who scores loads of goals.
Lots.
And actually the others are struggling to chip in, like at the moment in time. The wingers haven't done too much forward and looks a bit off it, but you're all right. They can always get one from somewhere.
And even before we came on the stream, me and you were having a look. Haaland, the last 2.5 seasons of being in the Premier League, 74 big chances he's missed. But
he just scores the other
because he scores,
60 odds.
Because they haven't had a reason to worry about that, it's not been talked about. But now they're not winning games. That's where the issue's coming in from at the moment.
Besham's has gone for 5-0, nice one. Tom's gone 3-1 as well, agreeing with you guys. Bears gone for 3-1 as well. So yeah, a lot of confidence, which is mad really, because I've always said I'd take a draw against City home and away and then just beat everyone else. But actually now I wouldn't.
Yeah.
I mean, if you end up with a draw here, it's not the end of the world.
Agreed.
But
Agreed,
actually, they're there to be beaten, and
They are.
go and stamp on the throats of your can, Liverpool. That's what we'll be hoping for. If you want more Redmen stuff ahead of that one, redmenplus.com right now. Dan's done the opposition preview. We've got loads. There's tactical previews on the deep dive with Chris and Josh as well. And then on Sunday itself, watch a long time. Game kicks off at 4 o'clock. So me and Errol and Dan will be live from 20 to 3 UK time with that one right through until about an hour after full-time whistle, hopefully celebrating as Liverpool beat Manchester City. There'll be commentating, with me and Errol, and then from the stadium itself you'll have Paul, Chris and Chloe with their reactions from Anfield, hopefully a bouncing Anfield as well. So you've got nowhere else you need to be other than Redmen over the next couple of days, except for the merch website as well, if you want to go and get yourself some if you want to go and get yourself some Black Friday deals. Thanks to Chris and Sam, nice one guys. Hopefully you enjoyed the game. Thanks for you guys for tuning in, and yeah, see you on Sunday.